But something that definitely was not surprised that we've been anticipating for a while has been Aladdin. Aladdin 2019, I guess we'll call it Will Smith's Aladdin, however
Right.
you want to refer to it. But the Guy Ritchie helmed live action remake of the 1992,
Hmm.
1992, damn, uh, animated movie uh, starring Mena Musad as Aladdin, Naomi Scott as Jasmine. Obviously, we got Will Smith as the genie, Marwan Kamari as Jafar, and Nassim.
Come on, pronounce these right. Kenzari, bro. Can you read?
Oh, I sorry. it's just my terrible handwriting more than anything. Um, and how do you say Nassim's last name? I don't want to butcher it.
Pedrad,
Padrad. Okay.
SNL alum.
Yeah, I don't really recall her from SNL, which
Yeah,
is
she was a piano
probably
player.
I just wasn't super tuned in at that time. Playing Dahlia, the handmaid to Jasmine. Um, yeah, I guess why don't we just start with general thoughts? How did you feel about Aladdin overall?
I liked it a lot more than I expected to. I know. I think for most people, they had lowered expectations given the mixed reception to the trailer, and this an overall apathy to live action Disney remakes because haven't really added anything to what they're adapting. They're just kind of there to be seen, make some dough for Disney and to entertain kids. Like there's a they don't set out to achieve much as films, so most people are never super hyped about them. But I was pleased. I think it's completely inoffensive to any hardcore OG Aladdin fans, and the changes it makes, I don't think they really add anything. Like as I was saying, like, it doesn't rise above the original, but it's still a lot of fun. I think most of the casting is done well, so it's just enjoyable, movie. Ultimately, it's geared for kids, but I think it looks pretty good. I was concerned if this CGI might stand out and be a little stark, given that they didn't shoot this whole thing in desert after all. But I think it looks good. And it's a fun. It's a little long. I guess that was probably my biggest quibble with. I think it takes a while to start
Mm.
and like pick up. But yeah, I was entertained. What about you?
When the first like pictures of the genie came out, and we first saw the CGI for the genie, there was a lot of backlash. People were really concerned about this film. But the more and more we saw updated trailers, updated clips, it seemed like they were kind of pulling it together. And I think overall they did pull it together. I really enjoyed it. I had a good time at this movie. I don't remember a lot of the plot points of the original Aladdin. I know like the general story and kind of like how they get from point A to point B, but I didn't recall Jasmine being as like girl power, so to speak, or women empowerment as she was in this film, which was actually kind of like a nice addition. I felt like, although I do think the speechless song was a bit like shoehorned in and felt a little out of place. But overall, I thought Will Smith for having an impossible task of playing an iconic role that Robin Williams personified to a T. Uh, he did a good job, and he brought a lot of energy. That's really what you needed from the genie, and he definitely, I think, carries this film. But Musad is fine as Aladdin. I thought Naomi Scott as Jasmine was fantastic. Kemzari, I was a little bit on. Like he was fine, but to be the big villain in this, I think at times he wasn't as intimidating, or I don't know, scary enough. Maybe is the right word. But overall, I thought it was a fine film and probably the best live action remake Disney's done to this point. My biggest quibble would actually be the singing. I think a lot of times was either like not the right pitch or just flat. And I found that a bit just like off putting. Was like, you're putting all this energy into getting the CGI right, into making the genie have all these elaborate tricks, and you aren't singing that well in this. And I thought that was a bit frustrating. But overall, had a good time at this film, and I liked it.
Yeah, I think there's a few things there. What do you think this is the best live action remake? You have this above Beauty and the Beast 2017 and Jungle Book 2016.
Ye- uh, maybe not above Jungle Book. It's right up there. It's definitely above Beauty and the Beast for me. I think that's probably preference to the story. Was never a
Right.
huge Beauty and the Beast fan. But also I thought the live action in this, like I thought the magic carpet, which could have been a disaster, was awesome. I thought that came out great. I think a lot of the live action elements of this were really, really well done. And I actually felt like the genie, which I thought was going to be incredibly scaled down because of just how much you can do with an animated film. You just can't do with live action. I still think they did a lot with it, and I was really happy with
Right.
it. You
Yeah, I
so you
think
would have those two above it though.
yeah, I really like Beauty and the Beast. I think it actually makes the original better because the original is super, super short. I think that added more to the plot and helped explain Belle's turn, right? Like it's not straight
Mhm.
Stockholm syndrome like it is in the cartoon. Anyway, these remakes should change things, right? Like I don't want it to be a straight carbon copy, right? Like, what's the point of that? And this does change things. You mentioned the genie. I think having Will Smith not always be blue, great
Mhm.
choice.
Yep.
Great. And you mentioned, I think he does carry the film, and I think it starts out a little slow, partially because the first song, really, the Street Rat song, it's fine, but I think Masood's singing is he only can do so much, so
Yeah.
they have to scale it down as a result. But once the genie shows up and meets Aladdin, then it picks up. It gets way
Mhm.
more funny, way more frenetic, and it's just a lot of fun. And basically, whenever Will Smith's on screen, he's
Electric.
just having a ball. It's great. It's one of his best roles in a long time, to be honest. Um, Kanzari as Jafar was probably my biggest weak point, relatively speaking. I just kind of wanted Jafar to be more of a sinister character,
Mm.
but
Good word.
because he just comes off as a much younger Jafar this time around, which is fine. But I don't know, like it was tough to buy that he was an advisor to the Sultan, who's like much older
Mhm.
than him. And I like that like they like kind of like add to Jafar being like Aladdin and coming up from nothing and then stealing the lamp later on. Like I believe that's all different from the cartoon. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he just wasn't quite as menacing as I wanted him to be. But it's still effective. It wasn't a weak point per se. Just kind of something I would have changed. Yeah, I mean the thing about the singing though is like you have to decide if you want to cast someone who's a good singer or a good actor. And I think when you're making these live action remakes, you have to prioritize the acting.
Mhm.
And I really liked Masood as Aladdin. I thought he was really good at conveying what makes Aladdin, this street smart kid who is a good, well intentioned guy. But
Mm.
they had him as he becomes falls in love with the Prince Ali idea, like in the cartoon, having that turn of sorts happen. I think was communicated well. I thought he did a good job. If he's not the best singer, though, I think it just you just have to roll with it. Like the Mulan remake for next year, they're not even doing any songs. They're just throwing that out. But
Mhm.
I think is a inspired choice. Just really focus on the storytelling. Now Naomi Scott as Jasmine. Jasmine's kind of like a weak Disney princess as far as characters go. Like she doesn't have
Really?
a whole lot in the cartoon.
Oh, in the
Um,
cartoon, yeah.
yeah, in the cartoon, she's just kind of there to be saved by Aladdin. She does not have a whole lot, so I think they're actually adding the like her
Mhm.
desire to be Sultan
Yeah.
and kind of giving her more to her person was a good idea. I think like Jafar being like kind of blatantly sexist, like you can't be woman and Sultan and shut up woman, like all these like it's a little obvious like the
Mhm.
messaging there, but I don't know, like having Naomi Scott have that brand new Jasmine song at the end, which is not original, uh, works well. And like I thought she sang pretty well. And you mentioned the magic carpet. What's called a whole new world, obviously the
Yeah.
most famous song from the cartoon. That really needs to be a hit because that's not a scene you can change.
Mhm.
And I thought that worked well, and it looked good. I was definitely concerned that the CGI would be poor, but they both acquit themselves well singing that song, and it looks good. So, like I said, I think overall it's inoffensive, but a good time nonetheless.
Yeah, I felt a whole to speak on a whole new world. I felt like that was a well done scene and very effective. However, I also felt like that highlighted the difference in singing ability between Scott and Musad probably the most throughout the film, because you have Musad, who's like, carries the first half of the song, and then Jasmine comes in and Naomi Scott just like blows him away vocally. It's crazy how much better she seemed to be in the film, at least. What did you think of the dancing that was included in here? Because I've seen some mixed reactions online to people feeling like, did that needed to be added in or not?
Which part? Like I like the Prince Ali entrance with the
Mhm.
elephants and the dancers. I thought and the song. I thought that was as extravagant as it should be.
Yes.
That was awesome. It was really fun energy. Will Smith killing it.
Yeah.
That looked great. But wait, is that the dancing they're referring to, or they're referring to something else?
The dancing when he's trying to like woo Jasmine as Prince
Oh,
Ali.
the backflip, a little much, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't mind. It was kind of cool seeing Will Smith go like all like marionette on
Yeah.
Aladdin. Whatever.
Yeah, it wasn't a big thing for me. I actually felt like I really enjoyed the dancing, and like at the post credits or like the credits scene where they're doing a bit of like a Bollywood type like breakdown. I thought was actually kind of
Yeah.
fun. I'd like to see them do like more of that sort of stuff, to kind of give a shout out to these cultural regions, as they make these live action films and adaptations. Um, I mean, Alan Tudyk is credited as, I think, playing Iago in this,
Hmm.
and Iago in the animated film is like a whole comedic actor in and of his own right. And this was a very scaled down Iago role. How did you feel about that choice?
Yeah, it's not. It's definitely not Gilbert Gottfried, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, scaled down is exactly the way to put it. He just doesn't really add much. He just kind of like, I guess he's there for the kids watching to
Mhm.
communicate in broad strokes what characters are thinking or what action is happening on screen. Like
Exactly.
he does not have any good lines, and at the end, he briefly becomes like this mutant pterodactyl ass parrot, right?
Hmm.
Shout out Disney. You always need to have some kind of chase scene at the end
Yep.
with CGI. Thankfully, it doesn't last too long, but definitely made me raise my eyebrow when I watched it unfold. Um, yeah, he yeah doesn't add anything, unfortunately. But I thought Abu,
Yes.
despite being a looks like a real monkey, uh, both funny. I think right away the dynamic with Aladdin is conveyed well, and the first real plot point that Abu pushes when he falls in love with the red jewel in the cave would look good and worked well. So I think Abu uh, was much better. And only he's a more important character than Iago. Iago is kind of like
Mhm.
supplementary. But yeah, a bit of a disappointment that both Iago and Jafar, to a lesser extent, are a bit of weak points considering they are pretty important to the storytelling.
Yeah, it just feels like a waste of Alan Tudyk, honestly, because he's such a great actor. He's been awesome as, uh, in all the Star Wars films he's been doing, and
K2.
just like,
Mhm.
yeah, K2, he's been great. So, um, yeah, I don't know. I think the last thing I just wanted to say was I was really impressed with Masad uh, and Scott in this, because when you're on screen with someone like Will Smith and he's so established and bringing so much energy, I think it could have been really easy for them to kind of like shrink away in that face. And I felt like they really like held their own in the scenes with him, and I thought especially him and Masad had a really good chemistry, that shone through and was a good driver of the movie for the second half, especially as kind of the conflict starts to arise more. So.
Right.
Uh, I just thought that was impressive.
If we remember back when they announced this, Naomi Scott was cast as Jasmine first, and that was something we were actually both happy about. She had kind of bust on the scene with the Power Rangers remake, but it's kind of been pegged as a up and coming star for a while. But it took them a while to find their Aladdin, and arguably that's a more important casting choice to nail. And yeah, again, I was really impressed with them finding Masood. That was he was good, and he was certainly not a well known guy before. I think they auditioned tons of people, and he won out, and that was great. Did you recognize who played the Sultan, by the way?
No.
That's Navid Niga Nigaban, who we know as Farouk from Legion.
Ah,
Yep.
damn. I would not have ever noticed that. That's That's awesome though. I think basically to summarize it, Aladdin, though not a perfect film, does enough to be enjoyable and it's worth a watch.
Much better than Dumbo.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see it, but I would believe that. And you can watch this for $7 a month starting November 12th on Disney Plus. So
That's
probably
right.
one of the first 2019 films put on there.
And
Great.
while we're here, what's your energy on the next remakes? We have obviously Lion King, which I'm sure everyone saw a trailer for when they saw Aladdin. That comes
Mhm.
out in July. And then also, probably lesser known to most people, Lady and the Tramp, day and date on Disney Plus, November 12th. Justin Theroux and Tessa Thompson. Those are the two we have this year. And then in March, we have Mulan, which just finished filming.
Um, Lady and the Tramp, my hype is at basically a 0, and Lion King, my hype is at like an 80 right now. Out of 100. I'm excited for it. I'm not like over the moon, but this didn't do anything to hurt it. I'll put it that way. What about you?
I'm really hyped for Mulan, one of my favorite Disney Renaissance movies. But I mentioned it's not being a musical, but the lead actress um, mentioned that it's like the most expensive Disney movie ever. It's like $300 million.
Hmm.
And if you think about Mulan, it's truly an epic story.
Yeah.
And just thinking that Disney's like really putting out to make this look as fucking badass as you expect it to be is fucking really exciting. So I'm looking forward to that in March.
That movie will make a man out of you, Dave.